There is a place that sometimes appears in dreams on hot, sweltering days. How long is our segment?
Yeah, we can see the ice caps getting smaller and smaller.
Knowing when the Greenland ice sheet was present and when it was gone are absolutely critical questions as we look out in the next couple hundred years to what's going to be probably the most massive change that we've ever seen as a species.
A Sacramento State professor is getting national attention for a documentary that connects a secret Cold War project to today's climate crisis. The film, called The Memory of Darkness, Light, and Ice, is directed by Kathy Kasic, and it explores a hidden U.S. Army base buried beneath Greenland's ice sheet, where scientists made a discovery that suggests the region was once ice-free. That finding is helping researchers better understand how the ice sheet could respond to a warming planet. The critically acclaimed documentary has now earned one of the industry's top honors.
And the Emmy goes to The Memory of Darkness, Light, and Ice.
Kasic taking home the Emmy for Outstanding Science and Technology Documentary. And hey, she's joining us right now in studio to talk more about the future and what it means for our future. Nice piece of hardware there. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Big moment for you. Before we get to the Emmy here, let's talk about this documentary for the folks who have not seen it. Focusing first on why was the U.S. building underneath Greenland's ice?
Well, at the time, it was the Cold War, and at the time they were worried about hiding their missiles from enemy view. So their plan was Project Iceworm, to hide the missiles under the ice sheet. They never quite got there because ice, as a property of ice, frozen water, moves whether or not it's melting. And so the camp actually ended up collapsing. But before they did that, they took the very first ice core ever, and sediment at the very bottom of that.
And sediment, that's what you are focusing in on here, beneath
right.
the ice sheet. What was found within the sediment?
Well, they actually kind of discarded this sediment when they first took it in the 1960s. And it moved around from freezer to freezer, and all of a sudden they realized about 5 years ago, we should maybe take a look at that sediment. And they found plant life and bug remains, which, of course, you can't have that under a mile of ice without it actually having disappeared in the past. So it led to a whole bunch of questions. And the film is really a mystery, about how long ago did that ice sheet disappear.
And you say that Greenland was once ice-free. That just sounds remarkable to me.
Yeah, this part of Greenland where the Camp Sentry is was at one time ice-free, so 400,000 years ago.
Wow.
And CO2 levels, carbon dioxide levels, then were half of what they are today. And so that's really important because if they were half, how is it that we still have a Greenland ice sheet? We know that carbon dioxide in the atmosphere warms the planet. It's a sort of a known fact over the course of time. But what we have now is this massive spike since we've started emitting carbon dioxide as humans into the atmosphere. And that massive spike is causing a major melt of the Greenland ice sheet, more than 270 metric tons per year, gigatons.
As far as the documentary goes, you do a great job of blending the science part of it and then also the history and then some human stories as well. How was that an effective way to tell your story?
By blending the two, well, I like to really tell stories with a scientist and also mixing the science together, and I think it allows for people to really understand kind of that human impact of climate science.
And you had a huge collaboration with students at Sac State as well, right?
That's right. Yeah, we had about 10 students total, and 7 were from Sac State. And we also had 17 academic institutions and collaborators.
What were they doing, the students?
The students were, they were doing various things like edit assisting, or one student was a camera operator with me in Copenhagen. Another was doing kind of like associate producing work. So a variety of different things.
All right, let's talk about this trophy right here, the golden statue. What was going through your mind when your name was called?
Well, I was not expecting to win. I didn't realize how I wasn't expecting to win, but then suddenly they announced it, and I looked over at the editor who lives in Brooklyn. The whole thing was in New York, and And he and I just stared at each other like, oh my God, really? And yeah, I was just shocked. It was just pure shock. That's all.
That is
Yeah.
fantastic. We know there's been a lot of documentaries and insight into the climate crisis. If you were to give your 20-second or 30-second pitch on why yours is different or why people should go out there and make a point to watch, what would it be?
This film is not an activist film. This film is really just about trying to understand scientifically what's going on. And so it has a very logical approach and has a little mystery in there, has some historical intrigue, you know, the Cold War era in the 1960s. And I think that by watching this film, people tell me that they really start to understand climate science in a whole new way than they ever did before, which helps them to understand really that the climate is warming, the climate is changing, and we need to do something about it.
Such an important topic. Congratulations once again, and thanks for waking up with us so early. Professor Kathy Kasic, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.